Hey everyone, I'm Laura Gedenik. I'm an astrologer and a therapist, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of February 9th through the 22nd, 2026. So this next fortnight is really important. This contains probably the most intense, maybe biggest astrology for the year of 2026. That is because we have an eclipse happening in Aquarius. We also have Saturn moving into the sign of Aries. And then making a conjunction with the planet Neptune, which also just moved into Aries. So it is some pretty big stuff. So let's just jump right in. First of all, on Tuesday the 10th, we have Venus, goddess of love, beauty, pleasure, joy, connection, moving into her exalted place in the sign of Pisces. So this brings sweetness and joy and ease to the Pisces part of your chart, whatever house that is for you. Venus lights it up with ease and connection and possibly opportunity and possibility. And it's really nice too because Jupiter, the ruler of Pisces, is in its exalted place in the sign of Cancer. So the parts of your chart that contain Pisces and Cancer are being connected over the next 3 weeks or so and highlighted as well. And so that's going to look different depending on what your rising sign is. And also if you have personal planets in the signs of Pisces and Cancer, this also might be more important for you. And or if you have Pisces or Cancer on the angle. So if you're a Pisces or Cancer rising, or if you are cardinal rising, so that's Capricorn, Cancer, what are the other cardinal signs? I'm blanking, Libra and Aries. Or if you're mutable rising, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini. This will be maybe more significant for you. So yeah, this is a more fortuitous time connecting those houses, the Pisces and Cancer houses. And generally, there should be a greater sense of ease, a greater sense of connection in general, maybe opportunity, possibility, creativity, togetherness, cohesion. These are the two planets, the benefic planets that bring cohesion and, harmony and peace and hope, all the good things that we want to experience in life. So that is happening on the 10th. Venus will be in Pisces for several weeks, at least 3 weeks or so. And it'll really help out actually because right as Venus moves into Pisces, Saturn is entering Aries and leaving the sign of Pisces on Friday the 13th. And so, Saturn can bring difficulty or a sense of heaviness or limitations or obligation. Wherever Saturn is transiting in our charts, it's where we've had to do the hard work, the hard labor, where we've maybe come up against difficulty or things that we've had to overcome, obstacles. It can also be a part of our chart where there are limits, where it's like, no, this can't happen yet, or you have to do X, Y, and Z first before you can, reach this other thing. So Saturn is very much a limiter, but also it asks you to work very hard. And so, the Pisces part of your chart might have been a little bit more difficult the last 2.5 years as Saturn has been transiting through Pisces. And so it's really nice to have Venus coming into Pisces where she's exalted, bringing ease, right as Saturn is leaving Pisces. And so we'll finally have a lot more ease and flow in this area of life because Saturn is entering Aries. So, and that'll be Friday the 13th, where Saturn will start about a 2-year journey in the sign of Aries. It'll be there until April 12th, 2028. And it will be in the same sign as Neptune. Again, we just had 2.5 years of Saturn and Neptune being co-present in the sign of Pisces. And so this archetypal theme will continue for another about 2 years as they cohabit Aries together. And Neptune will be in Aries for about 14 years. Saturn will be in Aries for about 2 years, so they'll have that overlapping presence for about 2 years. And so the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune, I'll go ahead and talk about it now because you'll be feeling it the rest of the week and into the next week and maybe even throughout the month or 2 months. So that conjunction between Saturn and Neptune will be happening at 0 degrees of Aries. It'll be happening on the 20th of February. And Saturn is structure. Saturn is maybe routine or what we can expect, the status quo, foundation, support, maybe even security, right? Saturn represents hard work, labor. Neptune is the dream. Neptune is the illusion. It can be what's unclear or unknown or nebulous or not, it's not contained. Whereas Saturn is very contained. So what can happen when these two kind of opposite archetypes come together is we might have either illusions breaking and finally creating structure and certainty around something that has felt very uncertain, unstable, potentially anxiety-inducing. This might be a time where we're like, I'm done with this anxiety and this uncertainty. I want structure and stability. So I'm, saying no to this uncertainty and saying yes to this certainty and to this particular structure. It could be, kind of saying like, this uncertainty isn't working for me anymore. I am exiting, or I want this. Are you willing to do this with me? It can be that. It could be bringing structure to a dream, to something that you want to work towards and making it real, making it realistic. So it can be a couple of different things. Okay, so, and then Sunday the 15th, we have the Sun in Aquarius making a square to Uranus in Taurus. This is kind of mirroring a couple of aspects we just had with Mercury having made a square to Uranus and Venus making a square to Uranus. So the Sun square Uranus might kind of play off of some of these maybe realizations you might have been having over the last week or week and a half, some stuff that has been percolating or building, but then that moment comes where we're like, I need to make this change right now, actually. Uranus represents change, 180 turns of events, illumination, kind of an aha moment, realization. It can be revelation, right? Revolution even. So when the Sun comes into a square with Uranus, we're kind of making a change. We're saying like, I need, once again, it kind of feels like that Saturn Neptune conjunction. I need something to be different. I need something to be more solid. I need to make a change. And it could also be coming from a place of needing to express a more authentic you. Uranus is a planet about authenticity, and the Sun represents our light, our vital force, our chi, who we are. And so when the Sun comes into a square with Uranus, it's time to shine in a way that you haven't before, to let more of yourself be seen. Or it's time for experimentation. I feel like this thing inside of me hasn't really been expressed, and I wonder how it could be expressed. I think I want to experiment a little bit and try this thing over here or this thing, and let's just see how that feels. So that's Sunday the 15th. Monday the 16th, we have Mercury in Pisces making a lovely trine to Jupiter in Cancer. Mercury represents the mind, communications. Jupiter is expansiveness, opportunity, hope, optimism. This feels like a really hopeful day where you might be very inspired and ready to think beyond potentially self-limiting beliefs or thoughts. Great day for journaling, having conversation with people to expand your mind, thinking about what might be possible that you previously thought was not possible. So really great day for expansive thinking, also compassion, hope, empathy, yeah, once again, there could be like a opportunistic conversation you have, or an opportunity presented in some other way. It might be that you're like, oh, okay, I'm thinking about this thing differently now. Now I'm going to follow suit to make said thing more of a reality. We also have Venus in Pisces making a conjunction with the North Node in Pisces, and the North Node increases Piscean, the North Node increases things in general, makes things a little bit bigger, more pronounced, more noticeable. With Venus coming into conjunction with the North Node, Venus things increase or become bigger. So this is like pleasure, relaxation, joy, peace, connection. You might find yourselves like wanting to lean more into those things. And I would say it's a good day to do that, to create more of those opportunities for yourself. And actually, this I'm realizing that there's actually an eclipse also happening on Tuesday the 17th. That's actually the way bigger thing that's going on. We have an eclipse at 28 degrees of Aquarius. Eclipses indicate major changes, major endings, major beginnings. And this is our first eclipse in the sign of Aquarius that we've had in like 8 years or so. About every 8.5 years, we have eclipses in the same set of signs, but we haven't had eclipses, a North Node eclipse in the sign of Aquarius for maybe like, I don't know, like 17 years or something like that, quite a long time. And so this brings focus to this part of your chart. Wherever you have that, whatever house has Aquarius on the cusp, you're going to be starting to experience major changes, major endings, and major beginnings in this part of the chart. It's a pretty like fated time. I would say like eclipses aren't really times to do any sort of like magic or ritual around usually. This is like literally what all other astrologers say because it's just so potent. But just notice, this is the first eclipse in Aquarius that's beginning, that will take in, there's going to be several more eclipses over the course of a year and a half in this area of chart, and then of the chart or of the sky. And then we'll eventually start having eclipses in Leo, the opposite sign of Aquarius. So these two opposite houses are going to be activated or highlighted. And this is the first one. So this is kind of like chapter 1 of a 3 or 4 chapter story emerging. So pay attention to like little things that come up or that happen, or conversations that are had, or it's often the case that those end up like blossoming into greater things later down the road as we have more eclipses in these two signs. So yeah, eclipses, we have an eclipse on the 17th, major time, good time to just chill, lay low, and be intentional with your energy. The 18th is when the sun heads into the sign of Pisces. We're beginning the end of winter. Pisces is the end of a season, the end of winter. So kind of nice change of pace. We're going to be entering into the more watery, mutable quality of Pisces. Pisces is very go with the flow, kind of feel things out. It's just way less rigid and structured than Aquarius, which is a Saturn-ruled sign and a fixed sign. Fixed meaning the middle of a season. So as these planets move into Pisces, we're going to be a little bit more flowy, really, like go with the flow quite literally, and nebulous even, or maybe, Pisces are a bit more non-committal and watery and mutable. I also forgot to mention on the 12th, we have Mercury in Pisces conjoining the North Node in Pisces, and the North Node once again is a point of increase. And Mercury in Pisces is can be a little bit of a struggle with regards to communications, especially depending on your goal. If you're trying to have like clear clarity or clear communication or getting things done a particular way. It could increase the potential for miscommunications, misunderstandings, yeah. But on the other hand, Mercury in Pisces is very imaginative and connected to the cosmos, and very much can be associated with like magical thinking, or which isn't necessarily a negative thing unless it can become delusional, but also like spirituality, a sense of connection to the universe, to the cosmos. And so it can also increase those qualities as well. Okay, so back to, Friday the 20th, that is when we have that Saturn-Neptune conjunction that I already talked about, things becoming either clear and more kind of like, like I'm not willing to be in this uncertain situation any longer. Illusions are broken. There might be more clarity around dreams and vision and like what you want to work towards and make real. Sunday the 22nd, we have Venus in Pisces trining Jupiter in Cancer. This is the two benefic planets coming together. This is really lovely astrology. This is a time of joy, celebration. It's good for socializing, opportunities, connections, networking, fun, forgiveness, ease. It's a really joyous transit. So good day to have a party, have some sort of collaboration or some sort of gathering. Great astrology for that. For also indulging a little bit, making something really extravagant, maybe some food or something that you might really enjoy. Venus and Jupiter, especially in their signs of exaltation, are not about efficiency or productivity or hard work. No, they're about relaxing and enjoying yourself. So that is the astrology for the next couple weeks. I hope this was useful. This will look pretty different also depending on where it's happening in your chart. I'm open for personal consultation if you're interested. I would love to be more specific about how this is impacting you. Please like, subscribe, comment. Really trying to get this channel to grow. Otherwise, I will be back in a couple weeks with another astrological update. Take care.